Good morning. Welcome to my tiny tube. It's growing. I was just showing people what song was playing, and then I was looking. When I was a little kid, I used to look in mirrors. I'd set mirrors up, and you could just see forever until the bend. There's a bend. It would go around a corner. But in my mind, when I was a little girl, even I'm like, there's a timeline. There's a dimension. There's a dimension for every timeline for every single one of those. And then dark entities would start jumping through, and I'd have to close the windows before they came into this one. I always had a wild imagination. I've always been a spirit, having a human experience, and gotta make the best of it. You gotta, man. People are really coming. They're actually coming into their darkness, is what they're doing. This Scorpio season is gonna be like no other. And we're in Libra season. Yeah, people are like, okay, gather your nuts, get ready. Are you balanced? Are you balanced? Because Scorpio season, we're gonna start seeing who. A scorpion is just being a scorpion, even if he's on the back of a frog, man. You can't. Oh my gosh, man. I used to be that frog. I've been bit by so many scorpions. And then I determined I was the scorpion. Stop drawing stuff to this. Hi, Cat Meow. I didn't even know you were in the window. You're saying hello. You said good day to me, Meows. You said good day today. It's a good morning to you, Cat Meows. That's a good cat. He's such a good boy. He is. Oh my gosh, the spider webs are everywhere. I got a picture. This spider web, I'm not even exaggerating. From bottom to top, it's like 16 inches, 18 inches. I love spiders. They're the most amazing web designers. They're the only webmaster I recognize. Just spiders. Because human-computer interface is just crap. If you could get your stuff to work, whoopee! It's meant to be. It's all the mime. But if you can't, well, sorry for you. I want to help educate. I know people want to learn more about technology, and they just don't even know how, and I can help with that, I have a way of connecting dots for people. I'm an esoteric Sherlock Holmes. Homies. You want out, kitten? Red has slept in a little bit. I slept terribly. The demons are freaking out, man. The demons are out, huh? They're out. They're rampant. I didn't get a good night's sleep last night, and I woke up and Benny wanted out at like 12. Because he wanted out at 12:30, and then he wanted out at 1:30. I'm like, I started getting indignant and sitting in some justifiable anger, and like if I'm up, you better freaking run to that back door like an asshole. And I got some, negative freaking, because I'm not getting sleep. It was my ego, and ego to me is easing God out. So I'm felt up with my all that, I'm like, Marge, you live to freaking serve the dog, man, and Mom, you live in service, So I'm like, get this freaking, you better. I checked in with Spirit, higher power, God. And I can release that, and thank goodness he didn't feel any energy of disdain that I was feeling inside. I kept it in. He didn't. He was just like do 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 do. It's usually doopy 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 doo. He just goes out, goes to the bathroom, and comes right back in. I'm glad that I got a dog that tells me. It's like, come on, Marge. Choose your battles in this Scorpio season, man. The battles are gonna be way bigger, way bigger. Oh man, because all the darkness that we're gonna see, all the darkness that is about to be created in the world. And hey, if people do a freaking 180 like that and have their come to Jesus and start living, for service of others, and there's enough for everybody. They hurry up and do that, and don't do it in a fakey way, like they're just trying to get out of the water, that they like mean it and shit. Then we could have heaven on earth, and we could avoid all the crap. But the thing of it is people are creating the reality, so all the stuff that they were programmed with, all the stuff they're programmed with, early childhood program, everything that they've ever picked up is being cracked open right now because the astrological alignments in the sky. So people's psyche, people's spirits, everything, people's bodies, people are becoming mind, body, and spirit. People are becoming multi-dimensional, and they're coming into the actually, we've always been this way. They're just coming into the awareness, and some people ain't boding so good with it. So they're going to go short out, and who knows what they're going to do. Who knows? Because we're just all neurons. We're just all neurons and receptors, and where do people learn to balance themselves? Where do people learn to be calm and be at ease in stressful situations? Where do they learn? Do they even seek to learn to find peace and serenity? Do they even know it exists, or is it just so prevalent, chaos so prevalent in each individual that they just perpetuate it outside because they know that it makes money and that they can harvest our energy and do their evil bidding? I'm doing my standing turtle. My little standing turtle. I just started using it. Anyway, I'm not talking about the cup no more. Ain't reinventing that wheel. Sometimes I was thinking about how sometimes I'll just put it out there. What if money was no object? I'll put it on Facebook. I'll just be like, I'll ask people, what if money was no object? Now, to me, I interpret that as if it didn't exist. Like you had to use your charms, your brains, not your not your sexy parts, but just, what God gave you, not your sexy parts. That is bad karma, and people, you get dis-ease with doing that. Your spirit goes away, don't always come back all the time. You're always trying to be somebody else. Some people are doing having multiple partners. It's just not a good way to live. Anyway, so I ask every now and again, what if money was no object? And people, you would be surprised. I would say 8 out of 10, 8 out of 10 answer as if they had all the money in the world. It is so weird how people communicate, because they are living their reality based on their frame of reference, based on everything they seek to see, everything they look to see, all the music they listen to. I've been with Cajun in the heart space of being hurt, but you got to drop that hurt. You can't be mad at what the evil that people have allowed themselves to become, because we've given them our money and we've loved them, and they've helped us. These musicians that are coming out to be nefarious, you've helped us through breakups, periods of our life. So every time you're a bigger, better, because they helped and they fed on that energy, they fed on it and they took advantage of it, and I can't even hardly, because of where the goo guy is now, I can't even hardly listen to the stuff that I appreciated back then. Maybe one day I'll get to, but not for now. I can't. Same with Ed Sheeran. I just know what these people. It's just like, the evolution of your easing God out, the evolution of your easing God out of your ego to feed and serve an energy being that is not God. And so people are like canceling everybody because they're, people got a lot of resources. Dude, there's people that are living like on $400 a month, and it's just like, why these people that make these millionaires and now billionaires are freaking flying all over in like $10,000 suits talking about how much they care here and how much they care here. And I'm like, that's so funny, because evidently with the position that I've been in, I don't fit in any fucking demographic. Excuse my language. I didn't invite God in either. I'm going to invite God in right now. Into the room. I forgot to do that in the beginning. So I'm doing it in the middle. Whatever the middle is. Or if it's the end. Who knows? God's here. So it's a safe place. So people have been serving their, and when the Lucy fairy tale is trending on Twitter, I'm just like, oh man, how come God don't trend on Twitter? How come God ain't trending on Twitter? I'm trying to make God trend, you know. I'm trying to make love trend. I'm trying to not make, like, not eating people and, you know, killing babies and taking their last breath because it's just more essence that you're sucking in. Just, you know, and they live out loud. You know what the funny thing is I've been collecting data on these people my whole entire. I know who they are. I don't know that, like, oh, that this guy did this, you know, but I know what no vibrational beings feel like. They're plastic. They go through the motions. They just act a certain way. They're psychopaths. They're sociopaths because they don't care about other people. They just keep going around going, we care about other people, not for profit. We care about it. You care about people. You freaking direct deposit them because there's all the means to do that. That's the thing, man. That's the new world. Is people are gonna start paying people for, like, you know, and I got all kinds of stuff to offer. I'm a United States Air Force trained mechanic in several multi-systems. I went to college for computers, you know, networking, cabling. I used to do, back when phone lines before all went digital, I still have my phone, my wire punching tool from tracing phone lines. My skills are just, I have so many. I'm a wonderful cook. And a baker too. I'm gonna bake some can of cookies here when I'm done with this talk. You know, I'm all about natural medicine. You know what? I figured out, like, this. I've had a lot of congestion. It's all this smoke crap that's still getting out of my system from the fires. It's all, you know, and it's been raining, so it's very cleansing. It's very cleansing. But I have a couple of periods during the day where I'm just like, where's all this snot coming from? See, we're our own earth. 70% water, 30% mass. We have our own ecosystem. You know, as long as we keep ourselves clean, it can keep going. But clean is a spiritual thing, and all the ugliness we're seeing is because each individual in themselves, there's more than 51% of the population that are living in a wicked way. And so, as soon as I de-wickify in myself, I call it de-dicking, when I don't be a dick. Don't be a dick, Marge. Just don't be a dick. That's all you gotta do, is don't be a dick. And some people don't realize how hard and easy that is for me. I mean, it is so hard for me not, because it's easy for me to be a dick, is what I'm saying. Because that's my, not, because I've been bullied my whole life, and, you know, so all I got is my words. But the thing is I gotta come from a place of heart space of love in every accordance. See? In every way. And sometimes I'm like, I don't want to. This guy's a total jerk, and I know, or this bitch, this bitch here. I don't know who this bitch thinks she is. I know if I say this, she'll freaking de-dick, but then I'm still a dick. And I don't need to teach lessons so much anymore, but sometimes Scorpio moon, so sometimes it's kind of fun. But I don't hurt people like this. I mean, hurting people with words, it can be very painful. Oftentimes, and I don't do this unless they strike first. I don't strike first blood. I'm gonna hit first. I don't do none of that. No. I'll talk shit, but I'll only match their puddle of poo. So, I just think it's interesting how communicate, people got to start talking about their feelings. You got to start, hey, I'm upset right now because you're reminding me of something that happened a long time ago, and I felt powerless, and right now I know that I'm not a powerless being, but I feel that way, and I'm just going to take a minute, And you could do that at the grocery store. You could do that at the laundromat, because people are always about the power play. And the more scared that they get, the bigger the power plays, the bigger the bullies are going to get. Because it's, everybody's ramped up and they're feeling their neighbor's fear and they're feeling... But if everybody just keeps things calm and be at ease, it takes away the dis-ease. That's why I meditate hour. Sometimes I'll get to do 2 hours. It's a freaking, my spirit, just checking out my life. I liked, once it was presented to me as prayer is talking to God and meditate state is receiving the data. It's getting out of your own way. And it is a beautiful, magical thing. I just some days I like the lights more than others, and today's the day because I think maybe because of my friend, she posted a memory on Facebook last night recently, and I just saw it last night and she said something about wanting to go back to the days of old, and she wants her light bright back, and I was like, I feel like I live in a light bright, and this is why, because when I was a little kid, kids had them. Kids had light brights, and so we'd go to other people's houses, and we didn't have toys like that. We were so poor. It was poor, very poor. Lived in our car for a while. The cat lived in a rabbit cage for a couple months. That was 6th grade. That was when I was introduced. That teacher was a trip. He introduced us to the Jabberwocky at 12. 12 is a weird, hard year for me, and I have a niece who's 12, and this is a weird, hard year for her. But the thing of it is they're kind of similar. Anyway, 6. Just give you a little blip of my 12th year on this incarnation. Just real quick, I started off in a school called Rother in Redding, California. School started in 6th grade. My brother decided he wanted to go live down with my father in Atascadero, Central Coast, California, so he took off. So Mom decided, oh, we can't leave him down there with that guy. So we gotta go be closer to him and be support if he needs a place, if he needs support. So pulls me out of school. We start on the way down there, and the car breaks down in Visalia, California. Thank God. And I had an aunt that lived there, Margaret, who I was named after. Thank God that there's a woman, Debbie, and her family lived there. Mom went to high school with in Ventura, California. And so she took us in. And that's where I got to learn about different abled people. She had a daughter with was in a wheelchair, and just her spirit was so is I don't know if she's still around or not. It's years ago, 40 years ago, or long time. Not 40. I'm not that old. And then it's like that was like the first time I got to ride on like a moped, and and it was like in all these extreme situations, there's always the goodness that my heart has always been drawn to. And so after about 7 weeks of waiting to get money to get the car fixed, it was time to move on. And she didn't enroll me. I wasn't enrolled in school, because we weren't supposed to be there that long, but things happen. And so then we go on down the road to end up in Los Osos, California, and I went to Sunnyside in Los Osos, California, because my brother was in Paso Robles, so we're closer, And then so I went there for a couple months, not very long enough to see the like the Challenger land and stuff, and then we got closer to Paso Robles, just within a couple blocks from my brother. As a matter of fact, he passed by our street every day. I go sit out in the tree in the front yard, hoping that he'd walk down and come visit. But he was so mad because he didn't want us there. He didn't even want us there. And when it's just kind of funny too, because my whole world was turned upside down, understand, because I was the new kid. It just sucked, and we were so poor, and it was just the mean kids. People are so fucking mean. So I always learned how to defend myself with humor and deflect people's negativity with humor. I'm just like, can't let them get to you, Marge. You can't. They don't get to win. They don't get to take your spirit, Marge. So the last school, what happened is we lived with this woman, and she was like, her two sons' name were Saul and Burl and Solomon and she was real devout, and I had the unfortunate circumstance of listening to her give her 7 and 5-year-old a sex conversation. It was just so, it's just everything about that living situation was uncomfortable. And we only lived there, for a couple months, because at this time it's like, Mom, Jerry, I finally told Mom, he doesn't even want to, can we just go back to where I know, back up north? He doesn't even want us here, and so, the Flamson was the school I went to in Pastor Ovals. And so going from all these schools where there's just like a couple hundred kids, sixth grade was the top of the elementary at all these schools I'd always been to. There's like a couple hundred kids, and then I go to Flamson where it's 6th, 7th, and 8th, and there's like 1,800 kids. You got to dress out for PE. I'm 12. I had started my period like 3 years earlier, so I'd already developed and stuff like that. I wore a black coat. It was my security. I was like, everywhere. I was just like a hid in my black coat, And you had to dress out for PE, and I failed PE. And I hated it. But I did win won a Snickers one time in a freaking paper airplane making. So that was kind of a highlight, kinda. But that was real awkward and hard, and then we I ended up in Deer Creek. And then in 6th grade went to the same school system from 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. So the very first part of my life was very unstable. Oh, and then we wrapped up this summer. My mom's parents were still incarnate back then. Oh, and my uncle died that year. My mom had to go up and identify him. That was hard. It was her adopted brother, Kelly. He came from a Jewish family. Mom was Native American. So the people that adopted him got their tokens for their tokens. It's just a seedy, nasty, gross. Because when they were both 18, they got kicked out. So it wasn't that because they took them in anyway. So Mom always is grateful because of them. She has the ability to walk. She was born with club feet and had surgeries, and he always stretched her feet out and worked with her, and I rub her feet and wash her feet and tend to her feet. So I've taken over that duty. And I'm glad to do that. So she had a real okay, so what was I talking about? So all this stuff that happened, but see, the thing of it is everything I ever went through, I went through it, okay? So when I come into situations, other people don't know what I've been through. Just like I don't know what they've been through. But the thing of it is, I'm willing to ask. Okay? I'm willing to find out about the worst thing that's ever happened to you, because if I know the worst thing that's ever happened to anybody, I can deal with that. Because I've had a few myself. And then you can go and tell me about what the best thing that's ever happened to you. And then maybe if we have some commonalities, we can have some creative exchange. And come up with some ideas about how, when times were bad for me, of ways and things that would have made it easier. And even gadgetries, man. That's the thing with all that's cool about all this, everybody being shut in. Look at all the little gadgets and gizmos that people are going to be inventing here on our homeland, where we should have been buying the whole time, man. We never should have been buying all this made in China got out of hand. And now San Francisco is all mostly made in China, and they're trying to make it like them, and we don't want it like them. If we wanted it like them, we could go over there and live their ways. There ain't no need to bring their ways here. We are the land of the free and the home of the brave. And, well, we're going to keep it that way. And there's a lot of people and these politicians, man, I feel like I'm watching, what is that? What was that? The Hungry Games that was on a few years back. It was all big, and then you ain't seen nothing from old girl since, really. But the Hunger Games, like these clowns, and I'm supposed to be a clown. But it's like, I thought you were supposed to be the dignitaries. I thought you were supposed to be the people that were to be the example, and the people the control freaks is what I call them. The control frequency. Somebody's always in charge of somebody. And what we're feeling out, the bottom line is is people are serving God or they're serving the Lucy fairy tale. And people are figuring out all the stuff that has gone into the Lucy fairy tale. All the stuff that is attributed to the Lucy fairy tale is anything shrouded in secrecy. Because when there's secrets, there's dastardly deeds. All the goodness can be lived outwardly. All the goodness. You don't have to hide goodness. If you tout too much about all the goodness you do, that could be a little egoic, and, well, that could be just, showing your ass, but, there's all the glories in God, And so when people go around and money this and make, I can't help you because our policies don't, the systems aren't made to help people. They're made to endorse and support the Luciferi tale. And now we got him, God's coming back. God ain't never left. It's the people serve themselves, came forth with a frequency of service before self mentality. And that's their ego, and that's easing God out. So now people are coming back into their spirit. I'm sorry, God. I'm sorry, God. God, I'm sorry. I will do. It is hard out there. It is ugly out there. And the Lucy fairy tale is freaking, man. I never bought into it. All this, like as soon as, I was so anti. I was pleased when, people I knew stopped, the Bros Club, the long weekends in Tahoe and stuff like that. It's all to perpetuate and harvest energy. All the drinking and carrying on, and all the bad stuff that has happened. All the DUIs and all the guys hitting wives and wives hitting guys, and it ain't gender. All the nasty. Alcohol is straight up toxic. It straight up takes your spirit and then allows the demons to come in. And so now people are not people are just so worked up, and they keep trying to look for things to make them feel better outside, and you ain't going to find it. You got to get quiet, contact with God. That's the only piece that people are going to be. So everybody keeps looking, and so they're drinking more, and they need more of this, and they need more of that, and they got more of this and that, and it's just like this shit ain't working. So you got people who are having to face themselves. Yeah. And now there's going to be hell to pay because we all got karma. And I've been living my karma since I've been in my quasi-quarantine for 3 years. Yeah. But the quality of life of my quarantine has been contingent on my attitude and my lack of gratitude. Because it's just been this last 6 months when things got real hard, that I came in close to God. The harder things get, closer, I just climb up on God's lap and be like, can I drive? But on your lap? Can I steer? You do all, It's how it's always been with me and God. It's like, let me just do the wheel. Do the gas. Go. Faster. Woo! Okay, not too fast. Because that exhilaration feel, that feeling of love, to some people as trauma kids, it ain't always good. Surprise parties ain't always good, man. Don't tap people. That's why when I'm address people, I walk up around in front of them to make sure that I am in their eyesight. You don't tap on people. You don't, especially if they're music. You want to get punched in the face. You don't know who you're tapping on the shoulder, man. Shit. Come on. You don't touch people. That's an evasion. It's an energetic exchange. You don't put your hands on people without permission. People don't even know the basics. Not even, it's like, it's okay. Hey, can I touch you? I'm still asking, Mom, I asked my mom, can I give you a hug? Because sometimes people aren't in the mood. And they don't, and if she's not in the mood for a hug, and I'm putting, oh no, I'll make you feel better, I'm invading her. That's a control frequency, and that ain't the way I'm trying to live. See, I've been hard and harsh and the bitch and the, just to get what I deserve. Just my basic needs. But you have the control freaks that are just like, nah, policy states. I'm like, dude, the freaking pit's paper, throw it away. Help me out, man. Help me out. Help out your fellow man. You know, without the expectation of getting anything back. That's the thing. We live in a world, all these non-for-profits, people have been creating all this stuff. You know, look how wonderful I am. I help. I'm like, dude, where can I go to get my non-for-profit? My help from a where's the non-for-profit for work for home daughters? For single women that were career professionals and did all this stuff and then life shift because, you know, it's just them and mom. You know, and it's not just me. Somebody watches my tube that freaking is in the care of both of their parents. It's like, wouldn't it be cool if you had a couple, you know, a kid that, because there's so many kids on the street just because they're other sexual, you know, kids do stupid stuff, but not all kids are bad and they don't need to be kicked out at it, you know, just because they're an extra mouth to feed and stuff like that. We gotta go back to communal living, man. There's too many houses with freaking single older ladies and kids on this, you know. There's too much love in the world to go around, and the Luciferi tale is just, it's time to put that chapter to an end to that chapter in this course of time, and we're stepping into the age of Aquarius, and 11/11 is going to be a big day, and 12/12 is going to be a big day, and these energies are not going to relent, and resistance is futile. The more people resist God, or allowing God to do God's work, the harder it's going to get for people. Everybody goes through a dark night of the shadow. People call it whatever you want. Some people call it hell, a midlife crisis. You know, it depends on where you're from and the words that people speak around you. And I've been in a lot of places, and I've spoken with a lot of different... Think about the different terminology I speak alone. I don't speak different languages like on a global ethnic scale, but I speak Dewey Decimal System, I speak GUI interface I speak all these computer interfaces, I know where the settings are in so many operating systems, many operating systems. I don't use like a lot of browsers. I just don't even bother with like Firefox. They're up to 87, 81. I remember it was on 3.6 version. I was just like, you know, people get out of control and they want to change. And that's the thing. It's like, people need peace and quiet. They need a place to go because people are like, blah, blah, everybody's manic. Everybody's like, you know, everybody's receiving data, and it's just like, people are going to burn themselves out, literally short themselves out, because they're just getting all this stuff, and it's too much, and people don't have to learn how to retreat and get quiet and connect with spirit. And let somebody else drive the ship, the boat. It's gonna have to happen. I'm sure there's all kinds of ways that things can happen, and I know that I got psych. I got all the clairiers, and I see things how I see them, as just like anybody else. But we create our own reality, so don't listen to freaking NASA is just another government paid operation. You know, it's all government, and they want you to, it's all the storyline. They want you to think it's a bunch of shit. It's all shit. Because the reality of it is, yeah, there's aliens. How can people think that we are not related to people in this star system, stardust? Our last breath goes out into the solar systems, hangs out with our solar family, our same freak tribe. It's just the narratives that people buy are just so weird. Yeah, and then Santa Claus, ain't that the freaking biggest gaslit crock of crap? It's another way to glorify the Luciferi tale. Be a good boy, you know. It's just disgusting. It's gross. We've been spiritually hijacked. And people are coming into their spirit, because the vibration of truth has a frequency. You know when someone's freaking bullshitting you. You know when somebody is. And so when we see it everywhere, it's just like, I'm not going to deal with it. People just ignore it, and then everybody started ignoring it, and then the bullshitters, well, they've reigned power. The control freaks got out of control. So things are coming back into alignment, because it's Libra season and shit's starting to get balanced. And because we got to get, it's going to be a gnarly freaking, what's this, clean the air. Temperate weather across the nation this weekend will provide a good opportunity to open, what the frick is this AccuWeather? I don't really need your, see, don't, wasting time with freaking imposed thoughts, you know. I like thinking about my own thoughts and asking other people about their thoughts. So when technology, you know, you're never, see, that's the thing, is AI and stuff like that, they're like, oh, I think like a real, you're never going to think like me. You're never, see, the thing of it is AI has to be created so it's for everybody, and it ain't ever going to work because they ain't ever going to think like people with the full broad spectrum of spirit that recognizes that we're just all part of the color wheel. And what matters is the pulse of our heart space and where it beats. Is it the frequency of love where there's enough for everyone and you just want to help everyone, like oh my God, how can I help? Just like I'm constantly thinking of like how I can make things better in life for other people and make me, because when I help other people, it helps me. Because we all connected. You know, the billionaires are still billionaire. And the poor and the cracks of society are still getting wider, and you know, but they like to keep the system broke because it's easier to nab the people off the streets and freaking do their evil bidding. And the thing of it is you gotta care for your loved ones and watch your loved ones, man. Dude, it's this season. I'm seeing missing kids. Oh God, save the. Do not let people travel alone. If you love, you know, just go with them. Hey, I'm gonna walk to the store. Okay, let me walk with you. You got, because people are gonna be nabbed. It's just because we're coming up to Halloween season, and that is the number. And the evil spirits are running rampant. I did not hardly sleep last night. I had that, like I said, when I woke up, and the heavy the demons, the denseness, and then I rebuked it, you know, and then Jesse had a talk, so I tried to fall. And then the thing of it is I just wasn't comfortable, and the dogs were not sleeping in their ordinary place, so I didn't have a lot of room, and I just kept, and that's it's just not a good night's sleep. But that's why you know what is kind of funny is I was like, because the night before last I slept so good, and the night before that I slept so good, and then I had that crap night's sleep because for whatever, you know, and then so I was like coming off on 2 good night's sleep and I was like, justifiable anger, man. It'll freaking make you old and die young. Make you want to do it. It'll eat you up. It eats you up. I saw it eat up my grandpa. I seen it eat up people my whole life. Yeah, because I can look mean. When I'm just thinking about, like, did I turn off the stove? You know, like, I can look mean. Not on purpose. And then the control freaks they're like to always been the ones, what's wrong with you? Leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you. I'm in my own world. I didn't invite you in it, and people like to impose themselves on your world. Those are the control freaks. They like to designate how you live in your world. Because they feel powerless. Because they're small. They don't got no connection to spirit to guide them. So they're like, I have to control everything in my life because I believe in nothing bigger than me to control. Anybody in the talkie room? Oh, wow. Good day. Hi, Keejin. Welcome. See, that's the thing is I don't like to ever, I have my own belief system, and I'll tap into people's stuff, you know? I mean, I know people that, like, they got married by Satanists and stuff like that. This is a guy I've known for years and years and years, and it's just like, you know, I don't, to my knowledge, I don't think he's ever hurt an animal or anything. I mean, he's like a trapper spirit, but he's the kind of, he's also been homeless, and you don't waste shit, you don't harm things and things like that. You know, we grew up in Reading. Everybody knows where the Masonic Temple is, and it's right below it is where they do all the blood sacrifices at Lost Lanes. It's been like that for years and years, and since the 80s, and since before that. And Reading's a hard area. It's on the 40th parallel, man. There's Hell's Angels everywhere, all that stuff, man. All where there's drugs, there, you know, all of that, you know. My brother got an invite at 9 years old to go freaking work in his first freaking. I didn't know marijuana was illegal because everybody just, it was just always around because there's always the Vietnam vets and stuff. It was a retreat, but and it fell into ego. So now people are like, "Why are you going back down there? That you're going into hell? Oh my God, they ruined." I'm like, dude, that's why I gotta go, man. Things aren't gonna get light by just the happy people staying in the sunshine. No, man. The freaking happy people gotta go into the freaking dark places and blast our freaking light. Yeah, there and dance in the darkness, man. I gotta go down and dance in the darkness and show these people that they can live a joyful life. Because we got our mega church there. And I don't really, maybe I should sit in their pew and listen to what they have to say. And they got their magic church and all that stuff like that. And I'm like, well, I have the ability, I straight up have the ability to telekinesis. I get it from my mom. I can move, I'd like to do that for Keegan. Keegan, I'll put a lighter on your hand and then I did it to the attendant, the bud tender at the flower shop the other day. And I was just like, going like, I'm like, can you feel the fluid inside? She's like, yeah. I'm like, isn't it cool? She's like, yeah. Yeah. It's freaking neat, man. Verifiable. I'm verified. I'm verified in my own belief in my own self of all the stuff I know I can do and I'm capable of. And also recognizing that there are so many abilities and things that I can't do, and that's what, as my human spirit, I'm learning to do, is ask for help from people, and that's not easy for me. That is so not easy for me. But all the stuff we are to do right now is to live 180. If we aren't living in a way that isn't working for us, and every year we just keep putting on more weight and more density and more of all that, and just feel bad, and you just look at your family like, God, I'm not living the life I'm not living the life I want, and it's all their fault and all that stuff. You're doing any of that kind of stuff. That is not the purpose of this earth. If you go listen to Dolores Cannon, man, this is just a soul school. It's just an earth school where we're just supposed to experience things and and like, oh, that ain't good for me, and all that evil, nasty people eating shit. I determined that at birth that wasn't for me, and they tried to bring me into that world, and I still wouldn't have it. And there's other people that are brought into that world. Jesse Zaboter, God bless you. God, I got another show. They pulled out another episode in episode 7 that I get to listen to next, because she hangs out with a neat woman in South Africa, rising Aquarius rising South Africa. And people, and I can't wait to have talks with people. I'd love to have talks with people because I'd ask them different questions, because most people are the same, and they're always asking the same questions. That's why I like Keegan and Pockets of the Future and Don't Drink the Kool-Aid, because they're and San Francisco School for the Dada, Roman, and Divided We Fall. I love listening to people that have different points of view, even if I don't necessarily agree with them, because sometimes even if I don't agree with them, but mostly I do, and then sometimes I'll hear something that I don't, but it plants a seed, and then I'm like, and then that can change my heart, So God works through other people, and I cut myself off from God so long ago. I'm going to do it all myself. People are just going to disappoint me. People are just going to let me down. In recovery, nobody, 5 people showed up. How many motherfuckers have I helped moved in the last 13 years? And 5 people are going to, and all this stuff, and it's just like, but the thing is I turned my back first. It was me. See, it kind of ruins your anger in life when you recognize that you are a source of every problem in your life. And some people can't rectify with that, and they're not gonna. But don't drag yourself down. Let them go. Let them go. You gotta let people go. You gotta let people go when you die. I've had to let people I love go my whole entire life. Sometimes over and over and over. And they gotta let me go sometimes too, because I'm not good for them. I unfriended people before on Facebook because I just knew I was toxic, and I didn't want to lose. I burned the bridge on purpose because I knew that I was detrimental to them because I would say things that would hurt their feelings, and I didn't want to do that. So I just took it and I unfriended them, and one of them I reconnected with recently, and we'll get to hopefully talk later today. Yeah, I'm super excited. She's Sagittarius. She's such some people, they're your soul family. We get to choose our family. We get to Keegan, you are like a sister I never had, and we haven't met, and one day we will, and it's just like we get to pick our same freak tribe. We get to do that. It's our free choice. And people keep themselves locked in because of who they're related to, and yeah, I gotta do this, and all that locked in. That's resistance, and resistance is futile. So, vibing high. Yeah. So, hi, Free Jean. The flowers, they're almost at the end, but I'm gonna dry some out and press them in a book. I got a dictionary that's this big. Maybe I'll get some parchment paper so I don't, because that is a special, I talk about that dictionary. It's in my thumbnail sometimes when I just when it goes default. But Mom still loves them. Hi, Carl. Hope you're having a good day. Cookie Monster. Yeah, I make freaking, and I can't even use Jim what is it? Ben and Jerry. I used to say I'm the can of cookie connoisseur, the Ben and Jerry's of can of cookies. But they don't feel good either, so I don't like it. Good morning, Ontario. Oh, you're in Ontario. I gotta look that up. I'm learning my Canadian geography. I know Detroit, so you're over there. But Toronto's over that way because I got a homie that watches Ahmad sometimes. I think he's playing soccer on Saturdays. Football. But he's over in Toronto. Yeah, it's a circle of greed, man. That's the thing. It's just like, people just talk with their hands sometimes, and if you catch a shot, people are going to do, you can make, it's what we make of it. We're going to see the demon, the white, and the light in each individual because it's going to be a reflection of us because we're just all little aspects of those mirror balls, those disco balls, and we're just, yeah. I've been a tech tard. It makes it hard to judge people too, and I can be awful judgy, man. My placements, I can look down at people, but I look down at, but I think I'm justified because the people I'm looked down at because they're rich and stuff like that. It doesn't matter. I'm still looking down my nose. Hi, Katie. I'm still being the dick, but people gotta come with love, like I still gotta love, I don't care what comes out about Dolly Parton. I still love her because when I was a little girl, I looked at her and even because my dad watched like 9 to 5 and the best whorehouse best little whorehouse in Texas and all those movies, Blazing Saddles, so it's like, I come from, I think a lot of this stuff is like, I thought it was funny, and then it's like the people put the freaking racist stuff on, and I'm just like, oh, man, why do they always people gotta ruin everything. People just ruin everything sometimes. But so for a long time I always liked her music, and then like, Kenny Rogers, high Masonic. It's just like it's like, dude, are they all evil? It's like, shit. Let us have our memories of where the goodness was before they got lost. I got to see Dolly in Omaha. I got to see a lot of shows because I just was single for that last year I moved, and I would, on the day of, I'd buy what I would think would be the best ticket that I was willing to price, to buy on the day of, and then I was like in the nosebleed, like behind, like looking down the stage. I was looking at her back, but what happened was an usher came up before the show, and there's another woman that she was like in close proximity to me, and a couple over here, and they're like, and an usher came up, and she's like, "Are you alone?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "We got a couple of," and asked this other lady, "Are you alone?" She's like, "Yeah, we got a couple of seats to fill up front." So we actually ended up third row center. And because I went out and got a new shirt and a new bow tie just for her show. Because ever since, I'm talking 2-3 years old, I loved her, you know? And anyway, so it was always, and it wasn't like ever like because I was sexualized very young, but with her, it wasn't ever sexualized. It was just, she was like a godmother, like a fairy godmother type thing. And she, I got a point and a wink from her. So we connected. I got to connect with the woman that, and whatever she, it's between her and God. It's between her and God, and her. It's none of my business. We got to hang on to the good stuff. But at the same time, there's people I had to delete the gagoo off my phone. I can't every time, because every time she would come on, I'd be like, I feel bad. Because I'm like, God, I got duped, Now you're all googie go. Oh, she just, it's right out in people's faces with your album and 911, and it's just like, dude, I know more than people like her know, and I know where she's at in her life and her age and all this stuff, and she's going down, and she's already done, But people always have a chance to redeem themselves, so you got to hold out for the best. It's still, but maybe I'll put it back on later. Maybe she'll have her come to Jesus, and and it'll be true and authentic, and people aren't just going to say, oh, she's trying to, just change it to sell records, because people know that's what Kanye is doing. He's coming into his Jesus, but his is, he's too all over the board. See, he's too scattered. People aren't going to believe him because he's too back and forth. He needs to find some peace, and then people might take, and you can't hook up with freaking people like the Austin teens and act like you give a shit about people anyway. It's when people are saying things but they're acting in a different way, it creates cognitive dissonance, and that's the Lucy fairy tale perpetuated. So when people it's just like, that's all that it is. It's cognitive. It's like because that's what they do, is they will straight up lie to you. Keegan, you were talking about it. I saw an episode of that Lucifer on Netflix, and that's what he did, is like he would try and convince people otherwise. So when people try and convince you, I don't ever want to convince anybody anything otherwise here on this tube. I want people to think about what I say, and then to lead on that thinking, and to come up ultimately one day, one place, with your own destination of your own conclusion. I love Halloween. Halloween's my favorite holiday. I'm not going to let the freaking Luciferis, I never have. That's when people get to dress up and try on aspects of themselves that they are not comfortable doing in everyday life. That's why, I always paid attention to who's dressing in drag. I don't give a shit. When men have their feminine side, they should be allowed to be able to openly express their femininity just as much as women have our masculine side. And I always took my opportunity to wear my bow ties and dress in my fancy clothes and stuff like that as I see fit. Ain't nobody else been like, I keep looking in the whole world for other people like me. I know that they're out there, but they are very few far between, and I keep going to the places that I like, and I'm not running into them, so I keep trying. And that's how I find them, is I connect with people on YouTube, because I don't know how to connect with people in real life. I do, but it's always just kind of just shallow. Yeah, I'm not going to let them ruin frickin'. Yeah, I love me some Mel. See, that's my early programming. Blazing Saddles. Frickin' Richard Pryor, dude. He was frickin' straight up frickin' grew up in a frickin' brothel. In a best little whorehouse in the Texas fire, So I never looked at folks like that grew up. They were always my peers. It's just, but in every situation, rich, poor, it don't matter your economic background. It's, are you going to live from love or greed, ego? So, it's wonderful. Anyway, I've been going a while. I can do this all day, but I think what I'm going to do is do a couple things, and then I'll come back like midday, and then I might do a couple, because the energy's ready for. I mean, the energies, people are ready, want messages, and the more often I do these talks, um, the more people are tuning in, and I feel real good. Everybody has a masculine side. We all do. We're all in. If you study your chakra system, we are all masculine and feminine energy, and then our astrological planets, they have masculine and feminine energy. It's all based on an energy system. So I have Aries Sun, and right now Mars is in Aries. That's what all this fire is. People are wanting, they don't even know what they're fighting for, and they just want to fight because it's the placements, because we all have all of these aspects in us. It's just some of them are being flared right now. Some of them are really being activated. So, if people that have been really subservient for a while just let things go to keep the peace, now they're like, fuck no, man, I just ain't gonna be this way. I'm gonna make the change. I got the power. I'm gonna make this change. No more, because it's the spirit is calling to be free, because it knows it's a free vessel, but the control freaks have been harvesting our energy for far too long and keeping the vibration. You know how they do it with the juicy chrome? Well, the earth ley lines can pick up vibrational frequencies of people, how they get the peak from having the most fear. Well, the ley lines of the earth, they draw people's human energy, our human frequency, collected on, like, I'm on the 45th parallel, Salem, Oregon. How many other main cities are on the, and that's why they have sports, they move the sports teams around to put them on ley lines, so to interject all that drinking and, the frequency, the life force, they've been harvesting our shit for years, and they profited, and, now it's time that the false for profits, are being shown for who they actually are, and the thing of it is they're still keeping my mind there by the grace of God, but go I, because I could have been all these guys if I would have just put mom in a home and just went off and did. I would have been a boss bitch right now if I would have taken that corner. If I would have just shut my heart down and lived for my ego, I'd be running some serious shit right now in the darkness. But thing of it is thank God I accepted Jesus Christ as my Savior a long time ago, and recognized that, there is no benefit in the Lucy fairy tale nightmare. There's no, people play, but you always gotta meet yourself one day, and what you've done, and what I've done, and so I try so hard to just not live in anger every day, and I want to help the veterans and stuff too. There's a lot of combat guys that I saw come back from Crete, and these are the people I go into the darkness and help people, and it's easy to stay in the light and help people that don't really need the help, but to go in the darkness, that's a different kind of, and some of us are up for it and some of us aren't, and I'm up for it for a little while. I got a little energy left, but I want to teach people how to do this stuff so they can go into the darkness and exercise people, just get all the bad juju, just release it back to source, just that's all hurt feelings are, or evil is. It's just hurt feelings that got stuck in the 3-dimension, and they need to be released back to God's source so it can heal and rise above. So that's about all I got for now. Hope you have a rad day. Peace.